There comes a moment in every life where motion ceases, but movement never begins. You're doing everything, yet going nowhere. The people around you think you're functioning just fine, but inside, you feel the weight of stillness, the frustration of being trapped in a loop. You wake up every day with potential on your pillow, but end the night with regret on your mind. You're not lazy. You're not broken, but you are stuck. See, being stuck doesn't always look like failure. Sometimes it looks like average. It looks like stability without significance. It looks like the same job with the same paycheck and the same conversations about how someday things will change. It looks like success on the outside, but surrender on the inside. And that's the most dangerous kind of stuck, because it fools you into believing that motion equals meaning. You weren't created for stagnation. You were wired for evolution. There is divine intelligence in your design. Every part of you, from your ability to think, to feel, to decide, to create, was built to move you forward. But when life doesn't look like the vision you once had, you start to accept the illusion of limitation. You start to speak the language of excuses. And when your language changes, your life follows. So today, we are not here to entertain ideas. We are here to ignite decisions. This is not just motivation. This is transformation. You don't need another cheerleader. You need a mirror, a voice that reminds you who you are, what you carry, and how much you've allowed your past to mute your potential. You see, the power to get unstuck doesn't come from outside help. It comes from inside alignment. It comes from returning to the original blueprint of your destiny. It comes from dismantling the mental barriers you've built from bad experiences, and rebuilding belief systems that serve your future instead of protecting your fear. The answer is already inside you. It's just been buried under years of distractions, disappointments, and delays. But here's the good news. You're not far. You're one decision away, one shift in belief, one new standard. One conversation with your future instead of a rehearsal of your past. And when you step into that new frame of mind, you don't walk out. You break out. Because freedom was never outside of you. The prison was built in your mind, and today, we're about to tear down those walls. Now, let's dive deep and discover exactly how to get unstuck and start living the life you were actually designed for. Most people believe they're stuck because of circumstances. They think it's because of a lack of money, lack of support, lack of time, or lack of opportunity. But the truth runs deeper. The real reason you feel stuck is not because life is unfair. It's because somewhere along the way, you stopped living in alignment with your purpose. You stopped stretching toward the reason you were created, and you started settling for what was safe, familiar, and socially acceptable. You traded your calling for comfort, and that exchange will always leave you feeling trapped. You were not born for mediocrity. You were designed for dominion, not just to survive, but to shape the world around you. There is a unique assignment stitched into your DNA, a problem you were born to solve, a value you were created to bring. When you ignore that assignment, life becomes heavy, confusion starts to take root. You feel the symptoms of being stuck, but what you're really experiencing is the pain of misalignment. It's not that you're broken. It's that you're disconnected from the source of your power. Purpose is not something you chase. Purpose is something you obey. It's already inside you. It's the whisper that keeps calling you higher, even when your reality tries to keep you low. But when you silence that whisper long enough, the noise of the world takes over. You start making decisions based on fear instead of faith, convenience instead of conviction. You choose what pays instead of what fulfills. You chase validation instead of impact. And over time, that choice creates a gap between who you are and who you were meant to be. And that gap, that's where stuckness lives. That's where frustration breathes. You go to work, but you feel no fire. You have relationships, but you feel no depth. You're doing everything right, but nothing feels real. That's not life punishing you. That's life reminding you that you're living beneath your design. The discomfort isn't there to destroy you. It's there to direct you. It's trying to point you back to the truth. You were made for more. Real movement begins when you remember who you are. When you stop asking the world for permission to live your purpose and start commanding your life to rise to the level of your calling. You get unstuck, not by working harder, but by aligning deeper. Deeper with your values, deeper with your identity, deeper with your assignment. When your inner world lines up with your higher purpose, clarity comes back. Energy comes back. Creativity flows again. Decisions become easier. And doors that were locked start to open, not because they magically changed, but because you did. Your results in life are not determined by what you want. They're determined by what you believe. You can desire success, dream of freedom, and talk about change all day long. But if your beliefs don't support the life you say you want, you will keep sabotaging your progress and calling it bad luck. The truth is, your mind is the engine room of your entire existence. Every thought is a spark, every belief is fuel, and every action is driven by the story you keep repeating to yourself. If the story is broken, the results will be too. Most people try to change their life by changing their behavior. They make new plans, set new goals, chase new opportunities, but nothing sticks. Why? Because they're operating from the same old beliefs. You can't build a new reality on a foundation that still believes you're not good enough, not ready, or not capable. Until you change the operating system in your mind, you'll keep crashing even with the best strategy. You don't have a strategy problem. You have a subconscious agreement with limitation. The mind does not give you what you deserve. It gives you what you expect. An expectation is rooted in belief. If you believe you're destined to struggle, even success will feel like an accident. If you believe money is evil, you will repel wealth even while working overtime. If you believe relationships are painful, you'll keep attracting partners who prove you right. Your beliefs are the blueprint, and your life is just following the design. Here's the hard part. Many of your beliefs were not chosen. They were inherited, picked up from parents, teachers, environments, experiences, and failures. Someone else planted them, but you watered them. And now you're living in a mental garden full of weeds you didn't ask for. But the moment you become aware of it is the moment you can start pulling them out. You are not obligated to keep a belief just because it's familiar. Familiar doesn't mean right. It means repeated. You must become the architect of your inner world. That means questioning everything that doesn't align with your desired future. It means challenging fear-based thinking, rejecting scarcity, unlearning shame, and replacing survival thoughts with success truths. You have to train your mind to think at the level of your destiny, not your history, because your future will always follow your focus. When your beliefs shift, your energy shifts, your posture changes, you start walking differently, talking differently, showing up differently. People notice, opportunities respond, resources appear. Why? Because your life isn't reacting to your hustle, it's reacting to your belief. The internal shift always precedes the external breakthrough. You don't get unstuck by forcing outcomes. You get unstuck by transforming identity. Every day, people blame their lack of progress on their circumstances. They point to where they were born, who their parents were, what they didn't have, or what went wrong. But circumstances are just the stage. They are not the script. What determines the direction and destiny of your life is not what happens to you. It's what you decide in response. You don't rise to your situation. You rise to your decisions. Life bends for those who choose intentionally, who refuse to surrender their power to external conditions, and who understand that every choice is a seed planted in the soil of their future. The most powerful people are not those with the best resources. They are those who make the strongest, boldest, most aligned decisions with what they have. That's the secret. Decisions are the great equalizer. Everyone has the power to choose, and every breakthrough begins with a decision. The decision to no longer tolerate what drains you. The decision to forgive so you can move forward. The decision to show up fully, even when you don't feel ready. The moment you stop waiting for life to change and start choosing how you will change, that's the moment momentum begins. People think destiny is something you find. It's not. Destiny is something you build, one decision at a time. Your life right now is the sum total of choices you've made up until this point. Whether they were conscious or unconscious, your decisions shape the direction of your path. And the good news is, if you don't like where your life is, you don't have to escape your circumstances. You can make a new decision. One that aligns with the future you desire. One that interrupts the pattern. One that reclaims the pen and rewrites the script. Circumstances are loud, yes. They scream for your attention. But decisions are louder if you dare to listen. When you decide to live with intention, no storm can knock you off course. You may bend, but you will not break, because you chose your direction. You weren't pushed by fear. You were pulled by vision. And that kind of decision-making builds a resilience that circumstances can progress, is not just about doing more. It's not about how fast you move or how much you hustle. Real progress is measured by how aligned your action is with belief. Because action without faith is just motion without momentum. You can move every day and still go nowhere. You can be busy and still be buried in fear. You can take steps, but if those steps are driven by doubt instead of destiny, you're just circling the same mountain, calling it effort. Faith is the invisible force that turns your movement into meaningful momentum. It is the currency that activates forward motion with power and purpose. Without faith, action becomes exhausting. You show up, but your heart isn't in it. You talk big, but you doubt in secret. You plan for success, but prepare for failure. That inner conflict dilutes your strength. It breaks the connection between your vision and your results. But when you operate in faith, real, unshakable belief, every step carries the energy of intention. You're not just moving, you're building. You're not just working, you're birthing, because now your effort is rooted in something deeper than willpower. It's connected to conviction. Faith is what allows you to take bold steps without having all the answers. It lets you leap when logic says wait. It lets you speak when fear tells you to stay silent. Faith doesn't remove fear, but it renders it powerless. You might feel the fear, but faith gives you the authority to act anyway. And that's where the real shift happens, not when circumstances change, but when your confidence in what's possible becomes greater than your fear of what's probable. Most people are stuck, not because they lack ability, but because they lack belief. They want certainty before they move. They want guarantees before they commit. But faith never gives you a full blueprint. Faith hands you a seed and asks, will you plant it before you see the tree? Will you build even when no one claps? Will you trust the process when nothing is proving it yet? That kind of faith is rare, but it's what separates those who merely try from those who truly transform. Everything you want exists on the other side of a faith decision. Not a hope, not a wish, but a declaration that says, I'm moving because I believe, not because I see. That kind of faith opens doors, aligns opportunities, and awakens favor. It changes your energy, it sharpens your focus, and it invites acceleration because the universe doesn't respond to need, it responds to faith-fueled movement. Most people see problems as roadblocks, as curses, as proof that something has gone wrong, but problems aren't punishments. They're signals. They show up in your life not to stop you, but to shape you. Every problem carries a clue, and within that clue is an invitation to grow, to pivot, to level up. What you call a setback is often just a strategy in disguise. It's life handing you a lesson that comfort could never teach you. You just have to look beyond the pain and lean into the perspective. The truth is, growth rarely happens in easy seasons. It happens in tension, in pressure, in challenge. It happens when things break so you're forced to rebuild with wisdom. The most powerful parts of your story will never come from the chapters where everything went right. They'll come from the moments you didn't think you could recover, but you did. From the decisions you had to make with a trembling heart and tired hands. And when you look back, you realize those weren't curses. They were classrooms. Problems are teachers dressed in pain. They push you to think in ways you've avoided. They expose the weak foundations you've built your life on. They disrupt your routine so you can realign with what matters. But most people are so focused on escaping the problem, they miss the lesson. They complain, resist, retreat, never realizing that the problem came with purpose. That buried in the breakdown is the blueprint for your breakthrough. Nothing you're facing is random. Every struggle is data. Every challenge carries insight. Whether it's a financial crisis, a broken relationship, a missed opportunity, or a personal failure, it's not just something happening to you. It's something happening for you. Life is trying to reroute you to something better. But if you only look at the problem through the lens of defeat, you'll miss the direction it's trying to give. You need to become a problem interpreter, not a problem avoider. Ask better questions. What is this trying to teach me? What strength is this developing in me? What belief is this exposing? What opportunity is hidden inside this obstacle? That shift in thinking transforms frustration into fuel. It changes you from a victim of life to a student of destiny. And when you start to treat problems as clues, something powerful happens. You stop fearing them. You stop hiding from hard things. You lean in with courage, knowing that every time a problem arises, it's pointing to a higher version of you waiting to emerge. The problem is not here to kill your momentum. It's here to refine it. It's here to wake you up to what's possible beyond what's comfortable. Most people believe they need to escape their current life to experience the one they've been dreaming about. They think the answer is a new job, a new relationship, a new city, a new opportunity. But the truth is, you don't need a new life. You need a new lens. Because it's not your life that's broken, it's the way you're looking at it. Your perception has become your prison. You've trained your mind to focus on what's missing instead of what's possible. And that focus is shaping every decision you make. The life you want isn't hiding somewhere out there, waiting for the perfect conditions to show up. It's already around you, within reach, hidden beneath the clutter of your complaints, your excuses, and the stories you keep repeating to justify your limitations. You say you're stuck, but are you stuck? Or are you refusing to see differently? Are you stuck? Or are you holding on to the belief that things have to change before you do? The lens through which you see your world determines how you engage with it. If you look through the lens of lack, you'll always see reasons why it won't work. If you look through the lens of fear, you'll talk yourself out of taking risks that would change everything. If you look through the lens of bitterness, you'll miss the blessings right in front of you. But when you change the lens, everything shifts, even if the circumstances stay the same. Because vision isn't about your eyes, it's about your mindset. You've been rehearsing excuses so long, they've turned into beliefs. And those beliefs are quietly shaping your identity. You tell yourself you're not ready, not smart enough, not lucky enough, not connected enough. And now you filter every opportunity through that lie. But the truth is, your excuses are just disguises for fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of responsibility. And as long as fear is driving your vision, you'll keep shrinking your future to fit your comfort. The freedom you're craving doesn't require you to change your whole life. It requires you to change the way you see the life you already have. You have more resources than you realize. More skills, more ideas, more access. But you won't use them until you start seeing through a lens of possibility. The most successful people aren't the ones with perfect circumstances. They're the ones who learn to reframe every situation through the lens of growth, gratitude, and grit. You don't need to wait for something new to happen. You need to become someone new while you're still in the same place. That's the transformation. That's the breakthrough. You're not waiting on life. Life is waiting on you to see it clearly. And the moment you shift your lens, you'll realize that the opportunity isn't coming, it's already here. It's been here. It's just been buried under the excuses you've mastered. Now that we've walked through every layer of what it truly means to get unstuck, there's one truth that remains above all else. You were never actually stuck. You were simply standing still in a mindset that couldn't carry you where you were meant to go. It wasn't your talent that failed you. It wasn't the world working against you. It was the silent agreement you made with limitation. But the good news is this. What was built with belief can be broken with belief. You can change the story. You can rewrite the agreement. And when you do, you'll realize that the door was never locked. It was just waiting for you to turn the handle. Every breakthrough starts with ownership. Ownership of your mindset, your decisions, your patterns, and your perspective. You don't need a miracle. You don't need someone to come rescue you. You need to rise to the level of your calling. The life you want isn't reserved for the chosen. It's activated by the decided. The people who choose to believe in the face of doubt, who choose to act even when fear is present, who choose to align with purpose even when the path isn't perfectly clear. You've seen how purpose gives your life direction, how beliefs shape your reality, how decisions build your destiny, how faith fuels forward motion, how problems become stepping stones, and how perspective transforms everything. Every one of these truths is a tool, a weapon, a key, and now that you're equipped, the question isn't whether or not you can get unstuck. The question is, will you? Will you silence the voice of your past and start listening to the vision of your future? Will you stop rehearsing reasons and start responding to purpose? Will you make the uncomfortable decisions that pull you out of stagnation and into significance? Because the future doesn't respond to the passive, it responds to the powerful, and you are more powerful than you've allowed yourself to believe. This isn't about hype. It's about awakening. Waking up to the reality that what you were waiting for has always been inside you. Waiting for alignment. Waiting for a yes. Waiting for a moment just like this one. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a committed heart. Because the moment you commit fully, things start to shift. Doors open, paths appear, people come, momentum builds. So here's the final call. Stop negotiating with stuck. Stop making space for stagnation. Stop treating fear like a friend. This is your moment to rise. Not into a different life, but into a different level within the life you already have. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not forgotten. You are one decision away from flow, from fire, from freedom. Get up, get clear, get aligned, and get moving, because the future isn't waiting. It's calling, and it's calling you.